Let me ask you about another one of the fighters that you work with, Ronda Rousey.
Yeah.
When we were here 2.5 years ago, I think you just maybe started working with her.
Yeah.
And you told me either on the show afterwards, you said, Brian, she's easily the most dedicated and most hardworking fighter I've ever dealt with.
Yeah.
And I think at the time I was saying, well, you mean female fighter? And you said, no, Brian. And this is before I think the whole world had seen the Rousey phenomenon. Yes, we knew she was up and coming, but no one had seen what she was going to do. And you worked with her early on. She always had great things to say about the Dolce diet and working with her. What's that experience been like the last couple of years with her? And then take me through, what happened in Australia. And I know you've just recently come out with a brainstorming session with all the members of her staff, talking about world domination and the next step for Ronda. Tell me about your journey with her.
Ronda Rousey is one of those once in a lifetime athletes that we as fans see, let alone me as an individual gets to work with. There will not be another Ronda Rousey. She was the first, she was and is the best female fighter on the planet. People debate it, but it's because of a bias. You look at the facts, what she's done. She went 12-0. She created the UFC female division. She ran through the division, ran through the division. She beat every #1 contender on her path. She beat Kat Zingano. She beat Alexis Davis. She beat Sarah McMahon with the silver medal in the Olympic freestyle wrestling silver medal. Ronda finished her in the first round, finished Kat, who was undefeated at the time, in the first round, beat Miesha Tate, former Strikeforce champion, current UFC champion, beat her twice. Ronda's body of work is unparalleled. No one has done that. Nobody will have that type of run. That's what Ronda has had, and that goes back to her work ethic. Ronda is up at 5 a.m. and she's in the pool swimming laps. When it's time to lock into the meal plan, Ronda eats exactly what she's supposed to eat and doesn't deviate. Not 1 minute sooner, not 1 minute later, not 1 ounce more, not 1 ounce less. Exactly. She goes to the gym and she trains and gets yelled at to get out of the gym. Her coaches have to kick her out of the gym because she'll keep going. She'll want to stay. She'll want to do more. She'll want to work. That's what allowed Ronda to be such a massive success. Now, what happened in Australia, Ronda's also a human. And Holly Holm was extremely prepared to fight Ronda. Ronda had fought, this was her 3rd world title fight on 3 different continents in 8 months' time. People don't understand that. She had 3 world title defenses. No other champion in the UFC ever had done that. Ronda had done that on 3 different continents. No UFC champion had ever done that. A lot of pressure, a lot of demands. Now, Ronda was in Australia and in Brazil and in Vegas. She has to be awake between 5 and 6 o'clock in the morning so hair and makeup can get to her room, put her in a chair for an hour and a half to get her ready to go, and then 7 o'clock, 7:30, we're in a car driving anywhere between 30 minutes to 3 hours to another part of town to start doing interviews and media and television and radio batteries and meet and greets and all these other things. And then she's getting back to the hotel anywhere between 4 and 6 o'clock at night, where then she has to get her training in. All the time I'm doing my thing, trying to keep her fed, fueled, and as kind of calm as I can with her team around her to get her ready for the most important performance of her life, while her opponent is typically doing a couple interviews a couple days out of the week. Ronda certainly carries the load. Holly Holm was well prepared, absolutely. Ronda was well prepared, but not as available to prepare as Holly was. I think that might be the right statement.
Yeah, and some emotional things going on in the scenes. Mom in the press talking about, Targaryen, and that doesn't help.
Absolutely
this
not.
situation. It's just, you must see it with your athletes all the time. It's like you put this pressure, this pressure, this pressure, this pressure. It all adds up. Whether you said it's financial or emotional or with your family, with your diet, with your injuries, with press, it all adds up.
Absolutely.
And at some point it might snap, or they might pull it off and no one will ever know.
Absolutely.
That day, she goes in there, very tough fight, really hard to watch that KO. As she said earlier, she was not really there from that first punch in that first round. How do you watch something like that? What happens after that fight? That's the part of your job that's not in your job description.
Yeah. as I said earlier about what I would do with Connor or an athlete like Connor, my process to work with an athlete, when I work with an athlete, I'm all in. I'm 100% emotionally connected to that human. I go through the process, the high and the low. I'm on the roller coaster, locked in with them. We're doing it together, and being there cage side for that fight and going through that, it had nothing, my feelings and emotions had absolutely nothing to do with sport or profession or career. It was my friend got hurt. Everything else, nothing else matters. Just that clarity of, she's hurt. How can I help? I can't help. What can I do? Internalize the pain. You know, and I equate it to the death of someone in your family, which sounds to some like, oh, that's a lot, but that's the feeling, that there was this great, massive loss, this emotional pain that I felt and those around her felt, and that she herself has expressed in different ways that she had felt. You feel this loss because there's so much tied up into these fights. Her entire life is tied up into the fight, her career, the performance, you know, the training camp, the MMA career, her judo career, her childhood, all of that.
Her movie career.
Her movie
everything.
career. It's all tied into this one moment. It's all on that string. They're not just independent moments in someone's life. It's all tied together, and you feel the enormity of that. I know I certainly did. So, you know, backstage, the UFC does an amazing job with their medical attention, gets her, you know, kind of cleaned up, ready to go. We go to the hospital with her. And I won't talk deeply or disclose any personal or private information, but as a team, we were all there while she was getting checked out, and thankfully she was cleared. She did not have a concussion. She, you know, had the mouth injury, you know, certainly, you know, had the sore jaw from the kick, some, you know, laceration and such. But it was more of the emotional side. You know, once you knew physically she was okay, not concussed, which, you know, I've been in this game a long time, and I've seen some serious brain injuries with athletes I'm friends with now that have long since retired, and I see the after effects and what that looks like 10 years later and such. She didn't have any of those signs, you know, hopefully that none of those pop up. So again, it becomes more of the emotional side, and to see that, and then you all start thinking about, we could have done this and we could have done that, and I should have said this, and we should have. You start going back, just like any other loss in life. I shouldn't have gotten the car at that time on that day. If my phone didn't ring, then I wouldn't have, or this thing wouldn't happen. Again, it's the human condition. We all kind of go through that. So I think we all, all the coaches, all the team, her family, of course, was there, very close to her, and then the team was kind of supporting and surrounding the family, kind of build those barriers of protection. And it was difficult, and it was difficult for weeks afterwards to really digest that, because it's not just the athlete took a loss. As much as Ronda put in to the fight, the loss was, as much as she put in, that magnified what was felt in that loss. Now we know through perspective, it really is, it's just one chapter in the story that will actually build her towards something much greater. And I had said, and I continue to say, excuse me, her last loss was in the Olympics when she battled back and she earned a bronze medal. And she went undefeated all the way until November 14, 2015. She went a long time undefeated as a result of that one loss, which propelled this level of greatness. So this loss here, I think, is just another mile marker that will propel her again to even higher levels of greatness that I can't even comprehend right now. Because I know her as a person. I know what her mind is like. I know how big, you know, her heart is. And it'll be fun to sit back and watch, you know, my friend go through that and kind of come into her own.
It's been great to watch her. You know, she was on the Ellen Show. She talked about the depression, maybe some suicidal thoughts. Yeah. She was on Saturday Night Live. I was just so excited that they asked her. So excited she said yes. Yeah. I mean, I wasn't surprised she said yes. You know, the Ronda that I think I would know would just welcome a challenge like that. Sure. But that's a big step to make, you know. That's a big step for anyone to go up there, let alone Ronda with the history. And now you had a meeting recently with all the trainers there. You guys are talking about, you know, what's next. So what is next?
Well, what's next from, you know, our perspective is world domination. You know, it's a great data point for us to look back and see what could have done better, what went wrong, where was it, what could have been better, how do we ensure that those mistakes don't happen from coaching perspectives. Each one of us across the board, there's improvements that we can make. The athlete, what can she do better? What can we all do as a team to learn from it, to fix it, and then to evolve and become so much better as a result of it. So we had that meeting. There is certainly no date set for when she will come back. She'll know when, and she'll tell us when the right time is, and that we'll help assist in that process because she is the boss. It's her life, it's her career. We're here to support her and provide her with the best intelligence, you know, that we can from our skill sets, but also as you know, counselors in her career and life to kind of help bring her to that. So the meeting was great. It's definitely high energy, very positive outlook. The loss, I believe, has brought the coaches even closer together, that we have a very unified perspective on what we want to do for her. And I think you get to a point that you have an athlete that's so dominant, it almost becomes a foregone conclusion. Like the fans, well, Ronda will win. She always does. She always finds a way. I mean, she's so dominant. And I think that has allowed us as coaches to step up our game, to not sit back and allow the athlete, or put that pressure on the athlete to just be perfect. It now forces the coaches to be perfect, to allow the athlete to elevate her. So
to watch the rest of this fascinating interview, click on the link below and go to LondonRealAcademy.com. There you can sign in with your social media, log in and watch the rest of the episode for free, along with all of our episodes on London Real, my webinars, and all of our premium content, all located over at LondonRealAcademy.com. So click on the link below, you'll be directed there and you can watch the rest of this fascinating interview, and I'll see you there.